Welcome back, one and all. I'm your Dungeon Master, August Schmidt, and with me, as always, we have the wonderful players this time of the week in no particular order as appearing on my screen. We have Shane playing Megamind, we have Braxton playing as RJ, and Alicia playing as Jim Lake Jr. It is a wonderful time to see you all. It's been a hot second. And of course, we love the rest of our party, but life is crazy. We hope everyone's doing okay, both physically and mentally. But let us jump back into the world of Dremor. Last we saw the party making your way across the frozen waste to a tower, said to have someone who might be able to give you information. You were all able to brave some of the puzzles of the tower and figure out a bit of the magical mystery to it. Indeed, the tower itself seemed to have been a red herring, as discovering a small cottage behind the tower that all of you were able to make your way to and meet an old man by the name of Burnish. Now, Burnish seems to be a pretty interesting character, but who is able to explain and give you a lot of well-needed information in terms about the world. Specifically, some of the big stuff, you were able to learn that the moon turning red is indeed a symbol known by many different religions, cultures, and that part of many of the books are apocalyptic in nature, saying that the red moon is not an omen, but more of a harbinger of some sort of change to occur. You were able to kind of scour this, I shouldn't say wizard, but shall we call him a collector of magical artifacts, to look for artifacts and high-powered magic items of your own to then stop this ending of the world. Again, you all know that a being has given this challenge, shall we say, that there are destructive natures coming into the world. In terms of the stuff you all found out, you did learn that there is something known as the Book of Peace, but many of you do know this might just be a story. That one doesn't hold a lot of water. To very metagame in the world of Dremor, this isn't common knowledge that the Book of Peace is a thing, and indeed, is it even a thing? You learned about something known as the Trowel, which was last seen in the far north of the New World, which said to have some insane levels of power. The weapons of power, that there were groups of weapons scattered around, and finally a sapphire tear with some elemental magic in Egypt. Yes, RJ. That is a good question, actually. Is the world...
I'm pretty sure Jim thinks the world is round.
I think, yeah, Jim would probably think the world is round. I think for a couple of you, you've never really thought about it too much. Megamind would know for a certain fact the world is round, having, blasted in here when he was younger. But it is one of those things, a lot of people are uncertain if it's round or flat. Yes, RJ.
So, Northern America and Northern Siberia, kind of where we are, ain't too far from each other.
That is
Just
very
saying,
true.
people.
Is if you were to find, even just trekking across the tundra with the right supplies or a ship, you could, what we would know that the transatlantic passage, get up and in, could very much exist in this world. And excuse me, one of the last things you learned about is not so much of an artifact, but as a creature known as a beast of power. But noticing that Burnish and a couple of you noticed, the book that was written about this creature seems to have somehow changed since Burnish read it, where instead of giving a true answer to this beast's location, some information, it simply says that the beast will be released when the time comes. Something very ominous and not at all helpful. But of course, while you were all talking, commotion was heard. Indeed, Burnish was unsure how long his, shall we call it, illusions and magic would last, hiding his tower. And some of the orcs that Jim, you met earlier, have started coming around, seeing this cottage, and are very much wondering where their money is, for lack of a better term. And that is where we're going to pick up tonight's session. All of you are in this cottage, hearing the sounds of commotion, and Jim, you understand that orcish language of like, we need to be paid a fair wages. We worked hard. Like, this dude better come out. We're burning this place down. As like orcs, they don't seem to be like charging into the cottage, but they are very much aware of this place.
I'd like to turn to the wizard and be like, they're unionizing.
The wizard goes, "What's a union?" No, I'm kidding. I know what a union is. But that's not good when orcs unionize, because they unionize and then hurt me.
So, can RJ try to steal any amount of magic from this magic collector as possible?
Yes, you can. While the commotion's going on, go ahead and give me a sleight of hand roll.
Anyone want to help me?
No.
I can distract. Maybe.
Cool. Would that give me advantage, VM?
I would say yes. I think that would give advantage. If Megamind, with the distraction... I should say, you were already on the brink of distraction anyway. It's just, this is having someone else weigh in.
I'm really glad I got that help.
Yikes.
First roll was 2.
Yes, RJ, indeed. That is going to be pretty good stuff. On a 23, I will let you know, RJ, you're quickly looking at this wizard or mage or whatever he wants to call himself, and like scanning the room. It's like, yeah, there's books and there's scrolls and items, but a lot of the big stuff seems to be tiny items he's wearing either on his person or like in pockets on his robe. Like, you're noticing like he ever so often will put on a different ring or something, and so you have that choice of, you could either go for something more in the pockets or maybe find one or two things more like out around the room right now.
Going for those pockets.
Going for those pockets. Excellent. You will find on a 23 there is a interesting ring that seems to have a blue gem set into it, which you're not sure entirely what it can do, but it does seem to be like very arcane in nature with this blue gem. The other ring you're finding is one that has a golden gleam to it, with a bit of silver inlay, like swirling wind symbols that kind of work their way around the gold of the ring.
Okay, let me write that down, because apparently trying to add it to my inventory is annoying.
Yes. Once you get either identify spells or time to look at it, I will let you know what exactly these two are, because they are D&D items. So for now, there's one that seems like a ring with a blue gem set in, and one that's a gold ring with silver inlay. As the orcs grow closer, Burnish kind of looks around, just, I don't want you all to get in the middle of this. This seems rather unfortunate. You wouldn't mind dealing with this, though?
Well, have you paid them?
It depends. Are you going to pay us?
Listen, I think we all know I am strapped for cash.
Didn't you say you hid a bunch of cash in your tower? Can't you just get it?
Well, yes, but it's like going to the bank. I would need time, take down some of the magical wards I have up. I can't do that, like, now.
So, we deal with the now problem, and we become the new problem if we don't get paid.
That's not what we agreed. Look, the orcs just want a fair wage. Have you been paying them a fair wage? Have you been paying them what you agreed on?
I just haven't made my most recent payment for their journeys. It's, Listen, a fair wage, I mean, it takes them a week's time. That's going to cost me about 200 gold for each for the stuff they're getting me. I have it. It's listen, if you can figure it out, I will give you each 100 gold pieces.
No, that's way too low. You've already said they're getting paid 200 each, and there's way more of them.
Okay, 200 because they're going on week-long missions. If you can solve a 15-minute problem, I think that's fair.
RJ goes to open the door.
Okay. All right, fine.
Can I have the book?
Can you have what?
The book.
The books of the artifacts. You see, yes. Okay, you get the book too.
500 gold for me.
No.
500. Okay.
Oh.
150. 150 for solving this.
And
400.
150 is more than fair.
each of you get 150. I'll have the book as mine.
There you go. Again, the orcs
okay.
are getting louder.
I look at him and I want that ring on your finger.
No dice. You see the old man clutches his hand real quick, just like, no. I am not magic. I need these. Listen, this is extortion, highway robbery. You see, while you say that,
problem.
right, listen, I will give 200 gold to everyone. You'll get the book and my ring. All right?
Okay. I would like to open the door and cast Ice Knife at the biggest group of orcs.
As suddenly, this all happens, go ahead, let us all roll initiative.
Oh my gosh.
We probably could have talked to them.
You could have talked. No, I love it. It's the idea of like everything's going on and like suddenly, all this happens.
Oh, Jim is
Suddenly,
so cool
immediate
now.
violence.
Immediate violence. Here we go.
I love this.
This is truly wild.
This is indicative of how I'm going to play the campaign. I can change if you guys don't like it, but I do enjoy this.
I think it's really in bounds. Again, like, you guys had a lot of this stuff set up, so to speak, and so I just like that this was the choice that was made of, like, all right, we're doing this. Here we go. Adding everyone in now. Let us see. We've got Megamind, Jim Lake Jr., and RJ.
RJ is in the front because he moved forward to attack.
That's
Yep.
RJ is the one opening the door right now.
Is there a map?
Did anyone get a 20 or higher? Yes, I've just put on a stream map. But yes, did anyone get a 20 or higher for their initiative? Oof.
Nope.
All right, we are doing great. Did anyone get 15 to 19?
Me.
Oh, all right. What'd you get?
I rolled a net 13 plus 4 for 17.
17, pretty good. And Jim, what did you get?
Oh, it's not showing up in the dice tray. That's awkward. It was an 18 or a 19.
18
Let
or
me look.
19? Sweet.
It
A
was
19, really good. And RJ, what was your initiative?
11.
11. I will let you know the orcs are going last. With this going on then, you guys watch as RJ opens up the door, and immediately you notice that everyone begins... so sorry, I just had a bit of sound issue on my end. There we go.
My bad.
Oh, no, you're totally fine. I didn't know what was going on. I was just like, oh, shoot. As we begin, RJ flings open the door, casting Ice Knife, being in front of this pack. The orcs have surrounded, I will say they're not actually grouped like this. There's about a group of 5, a smaller group of 3, and a larger group of about 7 with the leader, you can tell. Jim, you spoke with this orc, one of the leaders of the pack that you were talking to, who looks rather grumpy, for lack of a better word. You see that Vitgut is
Well, he's
looking
going to be
at
really
you
comfy
guys.
with a knife. Yeah.
As this happens, Jim, that begins the initiative with your turn. As Jim, what would you like to do as the door flings open? RJ is getting the spell to cast off. What would you like to do?
Can I cast Compel Duel on RJ?
What? Hey,
Oh,
we made a deal with the dude.
interesting.
Yeah, the deal was not to kill his orc.
No, it was to deal with the issue.
I did purposely leave it open, but interesting. If you want to cast Compel Duel, I'll allow it. In this idea, because it's that, not that you're trying to kill RJ, but it's that, like, what if I can take the spell, like, kind of keep everything going. Go ahead. Let's cast Compel Duel, I guess. What is the save?
Good question. Sorry, I still don't know how to work.
It's
You're
a wisdom save.
Yes, it's a bonus action wisdom save. If you cast a spell, the damage, yes, you end your turn. Basically, you're compelling RJ to have disadvantage on everything else except for you. In that case, let's do this then.
That's okay. So what's up there?
So sorry, I was just checking on that.
You
So
are
yes,
good.
RJ will succeed the save, but Jim, you do still have other actions and movement, I should point out.
Cool. I want to try and mitigate this as much as possible. I'm gonna try and step out into the middle.
Okay. So charging out into the middle.
Everybody just hold on.
Yeah, I'll say actually, Jim, if you want to give me a persuasion
play
check
along
against
here.
the orcs,
Persuasion, you say?
yeah, I think it's. I was thinking about that. It's something where you could definitely, in that, just like use a full action to be like, hold on, like, don't get hasty.
Okay.
I can play along here.
Plus 5 is a 23.
Ooh, a 23 is very good. I'm going to make an opposed roll, so to speak, for them. Here we go. No way. Jim, that was a natural 1 for the orcs.
For real?
I am not even joking. That was in the campaign dice tray. Jim, what do you say? Just like, what does this look like as you are just like stopping all aggression, so to speak?
Oh. I'm going to say, okay, good news. Good news, everybody. We found the wizard. He's not dead. He gone.
Do we want to go with the let's not kill him and you'll get your money, or just intimidate them away, or persuade them to leave empty-handed? Because I could train everyone to I hit the group over there. I'm like, we'll kill you all if you don't leave.
That's not set up for that.
Jim
signed up to help things be peaceful. Jim is also out of spell slots, so you know.
Jim, Megamind, and Waltz had a lot going on earlier. In an impressive display of true troll diplomacy, you rush out into the snow, hands wide, just stop, and your voice booms across the ice. Every single orc freezes in their tracks, no pun intended, and stops as you explain all of this going on. You see Vidgut, the leader of the orcs, kind of steps forward. Well, I mean, we could stab him a little bit.
Well, you see, if you stab him a little, he might die. You know, he's not strong like me. He's kind of squishy. So if you stab him, there's a chance that you're not going to get paid. And that wouldn't be good for anybody, would it?
Disconnect and then reconnect real quick because it's just getting real choppy for me.
Real choppy. No worries. I'm about to do the exact same thing just to try to help do that. So, disconnecting, of course. And we'll be back in 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Let's see if this helps at all.
No pun intended.
Excellent. I think we are back. I'm hearing everyone. It's a lot smoother now.
You're still choppy.
Sorta.
Still choppy? Yikes. Let's try it again.
Should we all just disconnect and reconnect?
Yeah, that might be the best option. I'll just jump off. Here we go. As we work through our technical difficulties, we do just want to go ahead here at the Nat 13 and thank our wonderful viewers and audience. We truly wouldn't do this without you guys. So, as they say on certain public broadcasts, and thanks to viewers like you. Thank you. And we are joining back into our session now.
Yeah, we are ready for a fight right now.
I'm all good. Wild shapes and everything.
Oh man.
I'm gonna use it to help intimidate here, or get our way.
All right. I mean, I think we're good on that.
I can turn into a panther.
You can turn into a panther.
I can turn into a panther.
That's pretty cool.
Indeed, yes. Jim can turn into, or RJ can turn into a panther.
Jim, you can turn into a panther
I
too?
can turn into a panther.
Who
Sweet.
can't turn into a panther?
New magic item we all got. We can all turn into panthers.
That's what the rules do.
Okay.
Panther ring.
Excellent.
Ring of panther turning.
Ring of were panther.
It's a ring of yes, and thus it's Marvel now. So one and all, as we get going back again, Jim, they all look at you with an interesting look in their eyes. Every single orc has stopped, and you realize that they actually are considering, right, if we stab this dude, he might not pay us. Huh. And every single orc, it's not even like a dumb thing. You think there's a genuine realization of, oh yeah, mob rule won't work very well because if we hurt him, we don't get paid. And so all the orcs are kind of like stopping, and see Vidgut comes up. Well, what would you suggest if we can't stab him?
Well,
Convince them to go into the tower.
he
Yeah,
said his money is in the tower. He just needs to go get it.
Oh, you see all the orcs kind of like nod at each other, like this kind of.
So if you like surround the tower and the house, that way he has to like.
I mean,
be in
you
the
guys
tower
can go in
and
and
escape.
help him get it.
That's true. If you go in with the
And
wizard,
then send some people in with him.
Yeah, right.
That's not a
Well,
bad
let's
idea.
get the wizard, and we'll go with him to get the
right.
money.
Have a nice chat with him, and if he tells you that he can go get you the money, then give that a try. Maybe just wait a little bit longer. These are not very easy times for people with magic,
I mean, we've been doing good. We don't use magic. All the orcs are kind of like, yeah, I mean, we're just orcs.
Yes.
These are some fine proletariats here. I say we seize the means of production and just
Break
take everything the wizard
magical
has.
chains. The
Me
wizard,
pulling out a union pamphlet.
the fat cat
Wizard
wizards
Orcs.
don't want you to know about this. You have the power,
Hammer
not
and sickle,
them.
let's go.
Oh my gosh.
But you see, each of the orcs have truly taken to heart, Jim and Megamind RJ, this idea of, yeah, let's just make the guy get our money, and like, you realize they're probably still gonna like threaten him a little, but all of you watch the orcs now walk up to the cottage, no longer shouting or jeering, but just kind of push the door open, and Burnish is sitting in there already fiddling with some of his rings, and just like, sees the orcs, and within moments Burnish has been drugged, maybe a little forcefully, by the shoulder out into the open with everyone.
Mike, you should be safe. They're not going to stab you. Problem solved.
Huh? What?
Let's go get some money.
You see the orcs all go, oh, money! Like, everyone just starts cheering. All of you can see Burnish's sweat is just like dripping down his face.
And while we don't get in money, I'm sure there's other ways of getting retribution.
Retribution! Like, all the orcs cheer once again, and Burnish, like, just, you think it's a tear.
Retribution.
After a few moments, Burnish leads over, taking one of these rings and placing it in the tower. You see the stone parts and creates a brand new little stone staircase, unseen before now. Following up, again, a couple orcs leading Burnish in that very Wizard of Oz arm linked around his to, like, walk him up the stairs.
I'm going to go with, because we were
same.
promised money too.
You were promised money too. All of you walk all the way up the stairs until you reach a grand little vault room. This room is adorned with piles of gold, fancy looking jewelry, a couple gemstones, and you see the orcs start cheering. They don't like just mob rush and grab it all, but they are cheering, and you see Burnish just like turns, kind of, the orcs on go, he holds his palms out to everyone and goes, all right, listen, everyone line up and you'll get your payment. And as indeed all the orcs make a single file line, Burnish slowly
With
pulls
RJ
out.
at the front.
RJ, you will receive your 200 gold pieces, and he takes off one of his own rings. This ring is a black metal band, no other strange insignia, so to speak, but it does seem to be rather cold to the touch. Hands you this ring and 200 gold pieces, goes through each orc, paying them their wages, as each of you took the time to, instead of just violently ending this, truly teach a valuable lesson to these orcs that they hold the power as
Economics.
Economics,
Yes.
man. Listen,
Yeah.
are you
I
doing
know you
shady?
can try and skim people of money when you have an easy way to get it.
It's all of you.
This
It
could
was
be a
easy.
metaphor for a certain wizard on the coast and their
Yeah.
player group.
It's almost like if a wizard on this frozen coast just paid people what was fair and followed through with promises instead of
And then
pitting
try to steal all of
groups.
their stuff.
Within minutes, everyone has gotten paid, and indeed, Megamind, Burnish begrudgingly pulls out the Book of Artifacts and is going to hand it to you. You see all the orcs turn, "What are your names?" And they're kind of like looking at your group.
Yeah.
We are the Union.
You see, Megamind, you straight up call yourselves the Union. All the orcs say, "Know this, that the Frozen Blood Clan owes allegiance to the Union." And each of them full,
Start
like,
waving red
pound
flags
their
around.
arm. This raccoon just going wild. The orcs say, "Yeah, sure, the adventurers known as the Union are now their friends." Each of the orcs, you see actually say, "Listen," you see Vitgut comes up to Jim and RJ and Megamind, and, just, "I do want to thank you. We really just needed this money to travel back to Ilvanor. We've got some other jobs to do. It feels good to not end in violence. Please." He is going to give each of you an additional 50 gold pieces out of his personal share as his way of saying thank you, so to speak. Just because, hey, he didn't kill anyone, and the wizard's still alive. They could come back and take more jobs. They probably won't, but, it's not like, wow, this was nice. As the orcs traipse down back through the stairs, each of them chink, 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 their money bags kind of, like, gushing with sound as they go. Burnish turns to you all, and you can tell it's that very much masked. He's mad, but he has no real right to be mad, because you literally did what he asked you to. And so Burnish turns to you all.
Magic is failing, so you might want to keep a door to your treasure room with all of your artifacts somewhere accessible to yourself. Because if magic does fail and your ring fails, you might get stuck with a tower full of crazy magical things that you can't get up into your treasure room.
Burnish is like, "Thanks? I guess thanks?" He kind of like starts doing that very old man mumble under his breath as he kind of pitters down the stairs. Of course, making sure you guys leave, like,
And try not to get yourself murdered.
As you exit the tower, Burnish turns to you just, "Well, I can't say I'm happy about this. I would have liked not to have been gouged in my pocketbooks this month, but fine. Listen, if there's any advice I could give you is this. Whatever's happening in the world, you have the smarts for it. So just listen, just don't come back here, okay? Like, we're done."
No right tricks you can't keep. Bye.
And with that...
Also, can I doubly check to make sure that this is the actual book and not some kind of trick?
Yeah, make me an insight check. Or, excuse me, I think investigation. Maybe of, like, let's check the book, look through it.
Like, this isn't a delve into the book. It's just like a, hey, I need to make sure that this is actually...
Yes.
it.
Yeah, we didn't just get scammed.
Boo.
Does
anybody want to give me help?
Megamind, as far as you're aware, this looks to be the book. It doesn't, like, you're looking through and, like, all the words seem to be there. It, like, he would have had to have done some crazy, like, last second pull of sleight of hand to, like, switch these out. It's just that, like, you're not, like you said, you don't really have time to stop, as Burnish is closing the tower, closing it up with this other ring he has, turning to you all in that final, like, just don't come back, and is heading back to his cottage.
August descended again.
This is true.
Cool. I rolled a 6, so if it is a fake book...
You guys
Whatever.
do have, thankfully, all the information of where you want to go. It's just that, like, it's nice to have the book itself.
But now we have like the extra information that we could actually look into, aside from kind of just him skimming through the book, because he didn't roll very high either. So
Prowl of wishes, anyone?
there's probably more information in here that we could glean.
As this happens, what I will say is, you're looking around, like, you as the party are now out here. You will notice that Wallace, Gromit, and Puss in Boots seem to be conferring real quick. Whereas Puss turns just, listen, my friends, I do think that we have many interesting avenues that we could pursue. But there are many to be said of that we have a lot of places to go. Perhaps we cover ground and keep in contact.
What?
Uh,
I just caught the keep in contact part,
oh no.
and like the Puss in Boots and the Gromit converting. The middle
Yes.
part was
Puss in Boots is saying that there's a lot of, like, information everyone has. If it's possible, Puss in Boots, Wallace, and Gromit are thinking, do we go head off to one of these items, like, start going, and, like, we'll re-meet if it seems to be a dud or, like, anything, to, like, cover ground.
gotcha.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Well,
So, what was kind of said about these items? There's the 12 weapons, which were everywhere. The trowel with the wish spell, which is in Northern America. Americas, we don't really have, I don't know if they're called Americas.
A lot of people call them the New World.
New World?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's that one. We don't know much other than it's there somewhere. Then we got the book in, if we find another copy of this book, we can find out more about the beast, but the beast of prophecy, he said there was something about it that he remembered before it was changed. He tried to remember what he knew, but it was just like about it being a beast of prophecy, revealed when the time is right, said something about like sacred sites, kind of like Stonehenge and stuff,
I used to know where it
like
was.
possible places. Then there was Mesopotamia, which had the tier of a god, as well as that's where a prophet of sorts was, slash like someone who told prophecies, was also in Egypt, who kind of knows of the blood moon and kind of sign of the times. And maybe they have a full prophecy there to kind of like, oh yeah, these are things to stop. But those are kind of the options of like a bunch of things that we don't really have direction for. And then there was Mesopotamia / Egypt, Northern New World, which my vote personally is Mesopotamia, because there's the Tier of the God, the prophet guy, as well as the possibility of great tomes of knowledge in old tales of, there could be like great libraries where we could find more information about these items. Or we could just kind of, I don't know, this is my thoughts. What are your guys' directions where you need to go, where you're...
Northern New World sounds interesting. I mean, we at least know it's in the mountains there. I mean, there can't be that many mountains in the New World, right?
There's a lot.
I'm so sure.
There are a lot. Very many.
I mean, I'd like to go back to the New World. That's home for me. But I also see your point that there could be a lot more to find in Mesopotamia and Egypt.
At least of like hey, there's another full prophecy as well as possibly them knowing where a full copy of this book is to get actual solid information about these other items. But if we just want to wing it and head to the New World, kind of start gathering information there.
You can send Wallace Gromit, Puss in Boots elsewhere to like get information as well. So it's like you could say, "Ooh, do you guys want to head Mesopotamia as we go to the New World?" You know, that kind of like plan to meet up.
If they want to go and meet, like, try and find the prophet to get the prophecy / hear any information about the tier / if they find a Library of Alexandria or some big fancy library somewhere.
Yeah. I like that. I like that divide and conquer.
Or do we want to have... So we could send them either way, because we know nothing about the trial either, so they could go to America as well and just scout out information in taverns all around the place to find information. So I don't care either way, but yeah, we have the two options, which I think are the better options of our...
I agree, and I personally do think that it'd be fun to go look for the trowel.
Cool.
We have something of a location. I remember it was described as being near mountains of ice.
And
So that
we also
have
know
a book which we can kind of read more
the
into.
previous owner is the one who brought it over to America. So if we can find his trail or their trail, we can hopefully get on top of that.
We can, how about we get to somewhere safe, then we kind of delve into this book, because if it leads to a, like, oh, they crossed over the ocean, then we might have to go a different way to kind of try and find this person's trail. But if they went kind of land bridge of sorts, there might be it might be closer to us, and we might be able to find the actual trail that they took close to where we are. So if we just find somewhere to pop a squat, and
as long as we get to kill something, it's
you and your wanting to kill.
He's a murder panda.
kidding.
Forget trash panda. We've got a murder panda.
I'm kidding.
Alrighty. Well,
I mean, my character does kind of deal with death. It's kind of his thing, but
indeed. I will say, it sounds like the idea is we send, some of our party members to go look at Mesopotamia area, and you guys head off and try to get either passage or some sort of way over to the New World.
Yeah.
That and probably try and pick up on a trail if there is one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or more information.
Yeah. I think we're going to spend a night resting and studying the book first.
Let's get away from this lizard dude.
Yes. We don't want to camp outside of his house when he's like, please leave.
Yeah. Definitely heading off. I will say this then. As you guys are going to head off, right now, if we kind of look at more of just, shall we say, the map of the world, this idea of like, where we're going. Right now, you are just beyond, again, the Blackwood is now behind you. We're in this area of like ice and frozen waste, almost to this crag area in this kind of zoomed in map. There is a inlet of a grand river above the Blackwood that, in theory, is only a little bit ways northward of here. While that is northward, there is still then the option of heading towards the river and looping back to Ilvanor, which is where some of these orcs said they were going, this kind of major city. or just
Ooh, do you think we could travel with the orcs?
you might be able to if you guys make. I would say you'd have to make just a quick survival check to try to like link back up with them, because when they left,
Oh, I
it was
got
like
this, guys.
like yeah, we can go, and they all start like trudge marching back across. Like they didn't really stop and talk. But yeah, you guys could probably link up with them and just head to
I would
Ilvenor.
so much rather
But
get into
Yilvanor is
fight
the
with a
opposite
fight.
direction. What was that?
Ilvenor is not the opposite direction. It's just more that like it is a direction, if for lack of a better word. It's like because Ilvenor would have like it's a coastal city. It would have access to boats or places to try to like sail. If that makes
Gotcha.
sense. Yeah, Ilvenor's not backtracking. It's more that because you are so far north, it's basically going like curve north and then north. If that makes sense.
I was
Cool. I
thinking
rolled a
that since it's
24
on the other side of the. Sorry.
Yeah,
if that's what we want to do.
yeah. I would say.
Shane was saying that we were going to try and take the land bridge. I think that's where you were getting confused. I
Yeah.
think we need to go back and cross the other way.
Right. And crossing the other ways would be just more going all the way to the frozen wastelands. It's the idea of if you head back to Ilvenor, you might be able to charter a ship, get some other information there. I guess just to finish off, or rather just to see what it would be, because Jim, you got a 25, RJ already got a 24. I guess just Megamind make me...
I did not. I didn't
Oh,
roll, sorry.
That was earlier. Sorry.
Yeah,
Because
no,
I
you're
see
good.
now. It's athletics. My bad.
I was just trying to sync up my dice rolling.
Yeah. No worries. I guess if for the party, if Megamind and Jim want to make just quick survival checks, just to catch up to the orcs, and it's the idea of travel in a caravan.
That was really bad.
Can you guys do better than that?
Yikes.
Okay.
Thankfully, 2 out of the 3 of you were able to get the DC 15. It's very much, Jim, you are in full armor, I think is kind of the problem right now. And so it's not like RJ and Megamind, Megamind's got like the capes and everything, but quickly catching orcs is fine. RJ's a raccoon, he just scampers along the snow. For you, Jim, it's not like, whoa, I'm in plate metal, guys. Like, give me a moment to breathe. And you will be able to catch up.
This is like the Two Towers with Legolas and Aragorn running across New Zealand and Gimli just huffing and puffing behind.
Quite literally is. Like, these two, Megamind is very graceful, like, I am running through the snow. RJ kind of just like animal, like, burrowing his way through. And poor Jim Lake Jr. is like, I did not realize it was cross country.
Us orcs are made very deadly in
sprinters. Oh my gosh. In no time, you guys will catch up.
RJ, what do your raccoon eyes see?
Vroom, all.
They're taking the orc for years.
Oh my gosh.
Vitgut the orc sees you guys approaching. Mainly because, again, while you all are able to run up and catch them, none of you are technically very stealthy at the moment. But, again, you're not enemies to them right now. Vitgut sees you approach, like, holds up a fist, slows down his clan's march, and he kind of turns to you guys and says, are you coming to Ilvenor?
We are, and we would love to travel with you. Greater safety in numbers,
Well, the Union always has a place in the Frozen Blood clan. Come with us! And he just starts like the beat of like drums and sound as this like orc clan begins their trek off.
Can I ride one of the robots?
Wait, we have robots?
Megamind has one.
Oh, Megamind's robots. Yeah.
Yeah, my little robot.
I would say for sure, because for RJ, you are tiny. Like, you would be able to fit. In which case, for
In
sure...
repayment for the chicken.
What was that?
In repayment for the chicken.
There we go.
See, it all works out in the end.
See, kids, stealing is good because it makes you friends.
Everyone wants friends.
Okay. Could I maybe use that ride as a short rest to try to figure out what some of these rings are?
I will say for sure, Jim, it is a perfect moment.
Like
Do
that
you
one.
have
Yeah.
access to any spells like Identify or Detect Magic right now?
I mean, you were just
I'm a druid.
I keep
So
saying Jim.
no.
RJ, thank you. In which case,
I have guidance,
okay.
and I have detect good and evil. I could cast augury if I really want to, but that's not going to do much.
It's true.
That would have been a good spell to use. Of like, hey, which way should we go?
Nah, too late. I don't have it prepared, to be honest.
Right. I will say then, you can definitely use RJ guidance and make an Arcana check. It's that I have time. I have a short rest while we're now.
I'll
I
throw
guess
you
like,
a
I don't have guidance.
you don't have guidance. Oof. Well, still make me an Arcana check. Let's see what you can get out of these.
I'll
three
throw you a
rings.
bardic.
You're gonna throw me a bardic? That's really kind of you.
Excellent. Gotta love bards, man.
Okay, so what is your bardic die?
D6.
D6. Okay, wish me luck.
You can do this.
Would I be able to help with like an investigation, or would it need to be Arcana?
I think it is Arcana. Is part of these rings are they
I got
are
a 17, which isn't bad.
17's actually
Thank you.
pretty good. RJ, you start taking time, kind of like, shall we call it that very rat-like sniffling through these rings that most rodent-type creatures do. That kind of like you keep picking them up, sniffing them, kind of feeling them a little bit, pick up another one. Just this very like intricate, palmy touch kind of way. The first ring that you kind of were able to sleight of hand grab, you're noticing that when you have this ring, you feel rather warm. To the point of like you think you could survive like the tundra. Like it's as if you were wearing a nice blankety weather coat just by wearing this ring. The second ring you're going to be able to get some solid stuff off on is where'd it go? There we go. One of these rings, you're noticing the first ring, I should say, was the one with the blue inset gem that kind of makes you feel warm. The second ring is you're looking at the ring that was given to you, shall we say, in payment by Burnish. This kind of simple black metal band, where as you're looking at this, you're noticing that while you're holding this, your body feels rather electric. Now, I don't mean this in the literal sense of like electricity, but your body and nerves feel heightened. You feel very like in control of the area. Like you're able to notice like as the orcs are running, as you're riding upon this little robot steed, for lack of a better word, like you're noticing the subtleties of that's an Arctic fox 200 meters away. A bird just flew overhead a mile off. Everything feels very like in tune, and you think you're like on top of your game, shall we call it, acrobatically. Like you feel ready to move and roll and jump as if your body has just gotten a shot of adrenaline.
Nice.
The third ring seems rather unusual in the sense of the golden ring with the silver etchings in and around don't seem to be giving much right now. Like you try wearing it, you try holding it, like putting it on your head, it doesn't seem to give much. And you know it must be magical. You swiped it out of the bag, but it's not giving any big physical properties right now. And so something seems a bit odd.
I will try to attune to the two I got vibes from.
Excellent. You will be able to attune, I believe, to
I can
both
do
of
up to
them.
3.
Yes, you will be able to attune to both. In this short rest, I will let you know, having now attuned to them, the first ring is called the Ring of Warmth,
Got it.
which is, while you wear this ring, you have resistance to cold damage. In addition,
Hey.
you and everything you wear and carry are unharmed by temperatures as low as negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which is...
I am a
That's
full
for this
erect.
wizard. He just lost his warmth.
You
gotta
basically
go
stole
find
his
someone.
electric blanket. That's what this was for. Like, if I need to go out and, pick some fruit. Like, he's got this. It's his coat, basically. So you got that.
The old man's coat.
I stole an old man's coat.
You
I love
stole
it.
an old man's coat. He is probably sitting there shivering in his cottage. I hope you feel good.
Oh,
Uh,
poor little guy.
the other one, having attuned to it, is a ring of evasion. A much more
Nice.
rare ring that you think this is why Burnish specifically kept this for himself on his person, as indeed you have 3 charges, which regains 1d3 every day at dawn, where if you fail a dex save while wearing it, you can use a reaction to succeed instead. Very much that, everything feels very, heightened in that fun sense. And this third ring seems an enigma. You're not sure.
I'll get it identified somewhere.
Right, if you can find a big town, there's going to be mages and people with spells. As you run with the pack, for lack of a better term, the orcs, the clan of the Frozen Blood, are going to make... I'm going to let this be kind of not a pure luck roll, but let's see how fast it takes to get to Ilvanor. That's a 9. It's going to take a bit of time. Good time would be if you had horses and carriages. Ilvanor, from where you were, maybe a hard 3 days ride, right? You just book it. Being on foot, and in part because, again, you guys are not well-trained tundra orcs ready for combat. Most of you guys, are still able to keep up, feel good, but it will take the party. We're going to call this a 1d8 with a 9, though. That's a automatic +5. Hey, but that's a 1. Only 6 days. Less than a week to get to Ilvanor, which is actually very good time. It's only double what horses would be, which is wild. I will say, along the way, everyone will, of course, have a chance to successfully long rest, because eventually you'll get a long rest. There's really no point in making, 6 different con saves, because while you may have nightmares during a bigger stretch of time, you're good.
Can I make 6 investigation rolls for this book?
I will say, unlike that, though, you will only be able to make 1 investigation for the book, specifically because there's only so much more you can get out of it. So you'll have an opportunity up to 6, but we'll start with just 1 because you might, not in a bad way, but this book doesn't have, a ton. The more value it has now is it's proof of, where you can and can't go, and, hey, if you need to look up its name for stuff.
I didn't want to leave it to the
Had to do it in person because it's this was a big check. I like it. I that's fair.
Yes. So I rolled a 17,
Oh,
and then I
that's
have
very
+5. So
22.
feeling good.
A 22 is very good. Megamind, you have to swap with RJ. It's that RJ has to run sometimes because it's nice. You can very treadmill-esque. You can put the book on your little mechanical servant and just keeps it in front of you as you run with the pack. The book, of course, I will give you the official title. This book is known as Magics of the World. You realize, in its essence, the book is not meant to be, shall we say, an artifact finding book. In total, it more talks about the natural magic of Dremor. That this author who wrote this book, as you can tell, maybe close to 100, 200 years ago, studied a lot of the different nations, shall we say, of Ilvanor, the very Nordic humans to the north, of China, the very anthropomorphic animals to the east, in the west, the New World with their gods, the Mesopotamic gods, all of these different worlds and magics, and how each of these people have magic. That is something this book makes very clear, that the lifeblood, shall we say, of the universe seems to run in this strange, rhythmic, arcane sense. That being the case, each of these nations had items of reverence. Basically, shall we call it a how-to guide or a tourist book of, if you go here, here's certain things that are more common because you're here. For example, one of the big things is you learn in the East, often China, their magics lie in a black powder, these fireworks that were created by the emperors long ago to create these magics of fire and dazzlement. Versus, of course, down in the southeast, in what we would call like that Indonesian Ocean area, the persons that live here, being a variety of dwarves and gnomes, have magics of the elements, dealing with items and things dealing with fire and water and earth and air, very specifically, of course, because these are the gods they seem to worship. The big stuff, though, on a 22 in looking at magics of the world is these items. Talking about how the trowel that was brought originated in the Mesopotamic region of the world, where the creator of this item, or lack of better word, as the author goes on to say, seems to have taken this item off to the New World almost in a sense of pilgrimage. The author seems to note that this item, while not sought after or fought over by any wars, was sent off, it seems, for more of a pilgrimage and mission to spread something. You know, the idea of a trowel we would know as digging, very much planting roots off somewhere else. On a 22, this person would say that they believe the trowel would lie then off with the elves in the far north of the New World. That the elves seem to have their home, what we would know as Xiofem, or rather a general term for this ice and tree and nature region, Volinar, is the land of the elves, who have always been rather reclusive, and that the author simply postulates that if a trowel was sent anywhere, the elves would be the smartest place to send it to. The rest of the book is pretty simple, though, in terms of, yes, far to Egypt, they have the Egyptian gods, where, as you know, the weapons of power came from, the idea of these 12 weapons from these more nomadic tribes that existed there at one point. Finding out a little bit more about this beast of prophecy and power in and around these different realms off in what we would know as the isles around like London, kind of the islands in the Atlantic. Very unsure of like though exact locations to this day, more of again like this originated here, here's some of the like starting legends. And finally, of course, looking more into more of this tier of the god that exist down in Egypt, and how it may be correlative to some of the mythos there of a god. When the gods of the Egyptians fought and killed each other, this god wept, had this great sorrow, and it formulated almost a tear or jewel with insane power from this god. But Magics of the World is a pretty interesting read, Megamind. Indeed, so much so that you don't notice when the orcs suddenly all stop and you kind of like thud into the back of one of them. As days later, we open up as you, the party, see standing before you the grand city of Ilvanor.
Question.
Yes.
You said that it had like a little bit of information about like big cities, and you said Ilvanor to kind of like the north, or was it the other one about the elves that I was talking about?
That it was talking about Volinar in the common tongue, but this elvish city off in the
Okay, the elvish city, and not the one that we're about to go to, because that was my question of like, oh yeah, did it have any magical information about this place we are literally about to set foot in? Because that's what I thought was, but it's the elf city, which is the one we're going to be looking for. Cool.
Yeah, of course, no worries.
If you guys would like, I could turn into a bird like a snow owl and scout around. Actually, no, I don't have flying speed yet. Never mind.
It's true.
That was a good thought.
It's a good idea. Yeah.
Just really quick, Jim, in the back of his mind, is that Morgana wanted him to find a sword that was in the forest. So he'd probably just keep an eye out for that. I'm assuming that's not going to be a thing that comes up, but that is in the back of his mind.
Oh, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Okay, so should I, make retroactive rolls for when we're walking through the forest, keeping an eye out for that, or
if we went around the forest?
As you are here at Ilvanor, Jim, you feel that almost gross tingle in the back of your teeth, that feeling of oh, maybe I need to eat more iron in my diet, where everything kind of scratches and bubbles in the back of my mouth and mind. And you stop and realize that something is magically pinging for you. You don't think it's anything you can normally do, but something about this city is starting to ping.
Okay. Can I roll some kind of, I don't know what it would be. Would it be insight? Would it be history?
You could let me in on it, and I could
maybe an arcana.
I think for right now, it's definitely going to be an arcana check.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to see if I can figure out if I recognize this feeling, or if I know that this is from Morgana, or if it's got to do with all the nonsense that's going down.
Exactly.
Okay, this should be an 18.
That is insanely good. Jim, as you guys are walking towards the city, where you can see that buildings are starting to rise in that very cool Icelandic thatched multiple roof setting of roof with a roof with a roof. If you've ever built Lincoln logs, how they always seem to stack and it still looks cool, where the city is this beautiful thatched dark oak wood with gray stone lining the streets, bits of frost in this early months here, as the Frozen Blood clan turns to you all, and Vitka kind of brings the three of you close. It was an honor to fight beside you, and he kind of winks, that. But of course, you have taught us much, O Union. May we meet again under the great skies of Valhalla. And you see, he actually makes, Megamind, you notice from Magics of the World, a symbol that seems to be of Thor, right? Kind of a very Nordic symbol of this closed fist up into the sky, kind of raised. And
you guys wanted to kill him.
As the Frozen Blood turns, he turns, looks out, they run, and Jim, your eyes wander ever so slightly. As they head off, you see a interesting group of people passing kind of, I wouldn't say quickly through the city, but they seem to have just entered, much like yourselves. One of which seems to be an Eric Cochran, very peacockish, with these white feathers blending well into the snow. One of which a very ethereal woman with white hair and very silvery eyes in this robe. One clad in very what you would all kind of count as, this is probably that barbaric Viking-esque armor. But the last figure is a simple warrior with this woman walking down the street, and on her back is a sword. Catching your eye, Jim, the sword is simply a hilt strapped to the woman's back, not a full blade.
Interesting. Okay. Well, you don't know what's going on. Why would I? Respectfully, why would I confide in a raccoon?
That is racist.
Tried to sabotage
That is
me
so
multiple times.
racist.
It's not
Why
even
would
the
I
fact that
confide
it's
in
like a
raccoon?
different person. Why would I confide in the raccoon? This raccoon.
Specifically, what I said was specifically. In the
Look,
raccoon,
I
and
know-
tried to sabotage
I
me
know
multiple
Jim.
times.
I know Jim does not like raccoons. He says as much in the show. But that was cruel.
That hurts. RJ, you don't know why, but you feel a little ping in your heart of like, oh no.
Gosh. Well, I'm not totally sure how I want to go about this yet, but I do want to gain more information about this group, and I know I'm not the sneakiest thing that's 7 feet tall.
It's true. I
can easily just look like a raccoon.
I
true.
think, Jim, you're kind of noticing it's like, if I try to follow them, I'm not sneaky. But to have a good chance at sneaking after, you'd have to confide in someone else. And so it's a catch-22 of like, do I get help or do I risk being seen? Because it wouldn't be too much, again, as you guys like, ooh, let's all spread out, look for clues, information. You probably could say like, let me go look for stuff and do this on your own. And so I'll let this be this choice for Jim Lake Jr. of like, do I confide some sort of information to get like someone better at stealth, or do you kind of risk it for the proverbial biscuit?
I think Jim is probably gonna risk confiding in RJ because RJ is incredibly stealthy.
All right.
Cool.
So,
I immediately.
No, hold on.
Oh.
But what's gonna happen is he's gonna
Okay.
say, why don't we all go look around and see if we can find a place that'll get us charter to the new world, and then as
Yes,
soon as
because-
we do it, he's gonna snatch RJ and be like, okay, by the scruff.
Yoink.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go and actually find us a boat.
Yeah, Megamind sound like, great idea, I'll look for a boat. And he's the only
I'm
one.
also going to take into account all of the funds that we acquired, and I'm not going to ask. I'm going to just be like, we have this much money throughout all of us, so...
I mean, yeah, 600 gold pieces
Oh, I
would be
guess-
solid. In
I'm
which
just like,
case...
if we need it, I am offering it. Because
Gotcha.
Okay. And she grabs RJ. I'll be like, hey! I didn't steal anything from you.
Yeah, relax. We're cool. I need your help with something.
Crosses little raccoon arms. What's in it for me?
Information and maybe some really stinky socks.
You're not helping.
Oh, sorry. Profiling. You remind me of a friend I have. Anyway. Stinky socks are not your thing. Okay, how about I help you go through the trash behind an inn, and we can get...
Wow.
I thought
Wow.
you were taking all kinds of food from the trash behind the other one.
I
thought
wasn't
that's what
taking.
you wanted.
No, I stole that from the kitchen fair and square.
All right, I'll
I
find
am
you
not-
a good inn, and you can steal something from the kitchen, okay?
I
I'll
can do
cover
that
for you.
myself. How about 10 gold?
All right, 10 gold, whatever.
Down.
I need you to... You may have noticed that I'm not very stealthy.
Yes.
I'm big, I'm loud, I'm bright blue for crying out loud. I need you...
A
Do
poet.
you see that woman over there
Mm-hmm.
with the sword hilt on her back?
Yes.
I need to know more about that sword hilt.
So steal the sword hilt.
How about you find out information about the group that has the sword hilt first?
On it. I immediately take my bag off, put it in her arms, like, don't eat anything, and then quickly, like, weasel out of my armor and just go full raccoon.
I don't know how to explain it, I do like raccoons. I think they're cool. The idea of a raccoon giving me something and saying don't eat it actually kind of churned my stomach. On that, like, I don't know what he's telling me not to eat, and I don't like the like unsaid implications of like don't eat anything.
I get squishing in in uncomfortable places.
I love this. In which case, we're going to do this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to cut to Megamind as he kind of like quickly goes to the city before we hit to RJ as you head off. Megamind, you are heading down through the city, finding your way along towards this port area. Again, Ilvanor is very much a Nordic nation. Where even though they may not be what we would call Vikings, that like pillaging, plundering, occupational hazarding kind of guys, they are hefty boats with grand architecture meant to cut through ice and even other boats. And you're seeing there's a lot of like standard fishermen here, but after a while you will make it to the larger areas of the port where you see large commercial merchant ships exist. What I would ask then, Megamind, can you go ahead and give me we're going to call this, you can either make it investigation or persuasion to start asking around at some of the boatswain and captains here on the dock and see who's like either coming in or going out and like what some of the fares are going to be.
Wow.
8.
My investigation roll earlier was so much better.
Megamind, as you talk, a lot of people start. Persuasion. You start giving the charm. You know, a bit of this like, hello, how are you? I have a proposition. And most people seem to consider you one of these tundra orcs. Again, blue skin. And so you see a lot of people are like, sorry, we're not in for mercenaries. Like, and like a lot of people aren't giving you time to give a good sales pitch. And the ones that do are like, oh, you're looking for a boat to the northern coast of the New World? Sorry, we only sail down to the European coastlines. Or, oh, sorry, I'm actually heading out past north towards the Frozen Way. We're not that kind of ship. And so you're thinking like it's going to take some time, that you're not finding anything perfect right now. But like there are some that's like, okay, some boats would get us to Europe, and so maybe, you know, at a port along the European coast, maybe there's another going over. But just on this preliminary, like maybe taking 30 minutes, an hour, starting to talk, a lot of people here are a bit like either wary of you or, oh, we're not going over there. Like there's not a lot of stuff over there, right? Like
trying to persuade people is not going well, so I might just have to hit the ground running and investigate.
Just that, like, listen, let's hit the books. Like, okay, show me the charters, show me the manifest, who's going where.
Yeah.
As this is happening, then, Megamind, we will cut. RJ, you have gone full raccoon, heading up the buildings over to follow this small group of people. What I will say is, let's make a preliminary stealth check. Just to pass without a trace.
Can you wild shape into a albino raccoon?
Just that very cosmetic, like, and just turns white, like little red eyes.
Ooh, I'm glad I did that. A dirty 20.
A dirty 20 will beat all the passive perceptions. You jumping off of buildings in and out. Every so often, you duck down behind as the peacock does seem to keep swiveling his head, very albatross-esque, like up and over and around. And so every so often you duck behind one of these little like wooden slat architectured rooftops and like wait, and then peek out and they're still going. And you eventually follow them all the way to what seems to be a library. You're noticing that some students and maybe like mages and acolytes are coming in and out, holding different tomes and scrolls, kind of moving in and about their day. But the party all seems to head in, and you see they actually kind of I shouldn't say grab, but like hail down a person to like show them around the library, like what we know as a librarian, but this is more of like a bookkeeper, for lack of a better term in this world. As the party heads through, you slowly follow, and they come into this very ancient section where, upon looking through many different books and scrolls for a while, you will be able to notice that the party has all converged suddenly over a book with some writing. Now, thankfully, you do speak common. This book isn't crazy weird, but the image that you see that the party's looking at is of a harsh charcoal etching, very angrily scrubbed into like the corners of this page, of some sort of humanoid figure with like black charcoalous smoky hands and imaging that spreads outward. And the words you will read seem to say pitch black or the boogeyman. As the party is looking at this, RJ, you will notice something. The party does it because they are very entranced in this book. There is another figure watching them. It's something that when someone watches a watcher, you know, it's not like you become more aware of the world. Across the library, a couple shelves over, but enough of sight, is a Triton, a more or less fish person, who seems to be intensely gazing at the party, and in that very kind of gross, fishy way, hasn't blinked, which feels just awkward and ominous as the eyes rotate through the skull, where they kind of move every so often as not to become too noticeable, but have not stopped watching them.
Ooh.
You also know the name of the book that I have, in case you
Yes.
somehow spot another copy. I'm just like throwing that out there. I was like,
Okay.
if you find libraries and you see this book, get it. But otherwise,
Check it out. Don't let anyone else near it. Like, we gotta.
we want this trowel. No one else can have it.
What I want to do is instill some chaos.
Of course.
Yes.
Okay? So, being tucked away, very stealthy,
Yeah.
I'm going to use my wild shape ability as a druid spores. To, as an action, I can expend one of my wild shapes to cast the Find Familiar spell without the material component.
Yes.
I am going to summon the spirit of Hammy, the squirrel.
Ooh, clever.
And I'm going to tell Hammy that he needs to... Oh man. What is going to cause the most chaos here?
Copy.
He needs to...
Steal the book.
I'm
We're
going
all
to steal the
looking
book. I'm going to steal the book and the sword if possible.
Yeah, it's not like, okay, here's my two main objectives.
Okay, so I want Hammy
Yeah.
to inform the party that they are being followed by the fish dude.
Yeah.
Then just like jump all over the fish guy.
Yeah, yes. Let's have Hammy attack the fish dude.
Yes.
And I am going to try to steal the book in the ensuing chaos because I still pass without a trace up. And, if possible, also steal the sword hilt.
I will give you this, actually. If this is the case, we're going to make, this is a couple of insane checks, but this could work really well. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to say, using very clever knowledge, very clever use of the world building and story, if you're using Hammy for a distraction, we're going to let Hammy make we're going to call it a persuasion check at advantage. This A lack of a better term would be a chaos check of using charisma of like, woo! And just go wild nuts. And, pun intended.
I give him a little whipped cream.
Squirt a little sugar in there, see what goes down. So,
Shake him up.
we're going to say
Happy for this boy.
Hammy the Squirrel is
Super
going to
super.
have probably base squirrel stats. Let me pull those up.
With a speed of plus like 20, right?
No, squirrels are actually very fast D&D creatures normally. It's kind of fun. So, Hammy needs to make a persuasion check.
Summoning Roger is just like this agent of chaos.
Yes.
Hammy's got
I love
advantage.
playing rogue adjacent.
Unfortunately, Hammy still only has a -1 to charisma. Again, Hammy's actually not charismatic. He's just chaotic. So, we're going to make this roll.
Him attacking the trident dude and drawing attention to them being followed and getting this chase started would be a pretty good thing.
We just have to, it's, again, good advantage, good stuff. It's not a terribly high DC, because, again, it's causing the immediate stuff. Oh, wow. That saved you from a nat 1. It was a 10, which will start it. So I will let you know this. We watch as Hammy the Squirrel jumps down into this book in front of these couple of people, look up and go, "You're gonna die!" and just leap off the table and run at the Triton and just start up and around and inside and out. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make a D4 roll. If you had succeeded, I would have said you would have had like an auto success on one of these. We're going to have to make a D4 roll to see how many chances you'll get to steal some of these before the party would kind of naturally either grab either the sword, to fight, or the book, or things to do, if that makes sense. This is going pretty well. Here's a D4. That's 2. That is the perfect 2. So, here's your choice. Which do you want to go for first? The book or the sword?
Oh, goodness me. Odds or evens? Let's...
That flip a coin. Okay.
Let's go with the sword first.
Okay. Going for the sword. I will let you know. This is a sleight of hand check. DC 12. It's very smart. You went for the sword first, which was something that this particular person is not expecting someone to do. Again, you see a squirrel attack everything. Their first instinct was not to grab the broken sword.
Okay.
So.
Good rolls, please.
Good rolls. Good vibes. Good rolls.
There we go.
A 19. Deftly, you lean down, slide along the balustrades of one of these bookshelves, lean out, and with both hands just grasp the ends of the crossguard and just kind of up and out and just lean back and roll away off to the shelves. You have the sword. And as this party is turning, you see the Triton looks at the party, now having, like, again, kind of points to the party, "You should not be here!" This kind of fishy, bubbly noise. You have a chance, RJ, if you want to try to grab the book.
Okay, well, let's go for the book and run like mad if nothing happens,
Alrighty.
Oh
Here we go. I won't tell you what the DC is on this. It's a bit higher.
15.
15, it hits it exactly. And RJ, as again, the party is turning, it seems not many of them thought, "Oh, let's grab this book," just more look at this train. You put your hand out from under the table, slowly yoink it out, and are good to go.
Okay.
That's where we're going to take our break, I think, for the evening. An excellent point. Thank you all so much. Let's take a quick 5-minute break, get some water stretch, and I will see you all in a moment. as we return, RJ, you are holding under one arm a full, just like broken sword, under the other this book, and are currently just like 2-foot shuffling it as fast as you can out of the library. I will let you know, based on everything that has just happened, you will get out of the library basically scot-free. There's no way with, again, you beat the right checks, you did everything. There's no way they're just going to, like, happen to be like, where'd it go? The raccoon! And just, like, suddenly find you. As you run, though, we're actually going to cut then back to Jim. Jim, as RJ is going off and doing this kind of little recon espionage mission, and Megamind's going off to the ports, where would you go, Jim?
I mean, I'd probably just wait for him and try not to look super shady. Because I am in an alley with my hood up. And I'm really tall. So, I don't know, man.
No, I feel that's totally fair of, like, it's, let's be honest, there's always that, like, you're with a group of friends or group of people, it's like, let's all do these things. And then you're like, I will stay here. Yeah. This is good. And so it's very much that, like, as you're sitting here, just kind of, like, waiting, what I will ask you, go ahead, give me a perception check, I'm going to call it, just to, like, look around maybe the area.
It's a solid 9.
A 9. Jim, very much so, you're not noticing much, which may be a good thing. Ilvanor does seem to be one of those cities where a lot of the action is going to be happening in the ports or like in the city central. Out in these, I want to call it like suburb areas, but like where it's just like houses, libraries, maybe a store or two. It's nice to have this level of like calm collection. And I will say, Jim, you're also definitely with that hood up because we've still got maybe a couple hours before we hit true nightfall. It's that, like, to put it in the way of, like, your sleep schedule got rocked a little bit when traveling with the Frozen Blood Order, because they are like, yeah, we can travel in the day, why not? And it's hard to explain that, and so when you're running with them, it's that, like, okay, we're no longer full nocturnal right now, but it's okay. As you are looking around, though, you do notice that Ilvanor seems to be a city that doesn't look too affected by the recent world change. Even though, again, over these many nights, the moon has stayed its crimson right, there's no, like, panic. You're not seeing people preparing for the worst. But more or less, there is this level of unease. It's not bad, but you can tell that even in a big city, people aren't sure what's going to happen. Megamind, as you're sitting looking, you said you were about to hit the ground hard. As we enter this, shall we call it second hour of looking around, go ahead and make me the investigation check now to start looking for more of, like, ship charters.
Oh,
just
come on. I hate these freaking
Megamind.
computer dice. They're so bad. I just rolled a 19 on the physical die. What the hell?
On the 8th, you're realizing this. You're getting a lot of those, like, shall we call it shutdown statements of, like, sorry, man, I'm not interested. We really don't have time. But you're noticing that a couple people, while they turn you down in regards to, oh, we're more of just like a more big water fishing boat, we're not into going, a couple people are starting to point out, you know, we do have good turnover in Ilvanor. If you were to wait maybe a day or two, I'm sure you would find the ships you were looking for. You just might have to stay the night.
Don't want to.
But I don't want to. As Megamind kind of coming back with this like knowledge of, hey, we could, I don't want to say settle. It's like there's the idea of we have a settle idea of like we could maybe get a boat. It just wouldn't be like a full trip, or we could stay the day. Coming back, I think it's at this point you, Jim, and RJ are all going to converge. RJ probably being the most chaotic in your approach.
I drop down and I turn to the big blue-headed guy and I hand him a book, and I turn to the big stone dude and I hand him a sword, and then I go, "You guys didn't see me," and then I crawl into your hood.
And I'm like, well, there are some boats going to England right now. Let's go.
Let's go.
Wait, what? What did you do?
Don't ask questions. Just get on the boat.
Okay.
I love this. You all take off. RJ just keeping under the hood. Heading over to the ports area. Megamind, easy enough again. You find one of these ship charters that is leaving within a couple hours for Europe. I'm going to pull up. I have this really fun Excel document which actually gives me the exact economical prices, like in a more realistic terms of like chartering stuff in this world. Super excited. So I have to just put in. You are currently up in Ilvanor, and to England. It's going to be. You're just needing to pay more or less sailor's fee.
I'm just a pet.
That actually, yeah, you might be. I will say, RJ, if you actually, I think this would need to be a party deception of like, and our pet raccoon is on the way. Like you might.
Our
be
raccoon,
able to...
I will happily perform and give entertainment on the trip as like a form of work.
What? No, don't pay for me.
No, I just paid.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And like, I will offer up Jim's assistance as like working on the boat for a cheaper fare.
Sure.
Of like, as soon as we can get gone, the better.
I like it. It's that idea of we're not just here for a free ride. Could we do this with cheaper cost?
And I'm purring like a cat.
In which case, you are looking at it will be a 3 days journey actually from Ilvanor over to the coast of London, what we would know in this world, which is pretty nice actually. It's only 3 days, in which case we are looking at. Here we go. Wow. You are going to just need to pay. It's more or less you're paying for each sailor's pay to the extent of like, hey, we're paying for your workers because they're gonna. Because it's even if you're picking up the slack, we're gonna figure out the initial sum. A 3 days journey plus the crew. There we go. In total, it's going to cost each person only 35 gold pieces to travel, which is actually pretty decent. This, of course, is saying you guys will probably be eating from your own like rations. Like it's not including like food costs. This is just like, hey, 35 gold a piece. And again, Jim, if you are, well, no, I do think Jim, RJ, and Megamind, give me a deception check. Just as a group, you need to pass a DC 8 to pass off RJ as just a pet.
21.
I got a 14 plus 8, so 22.
Yeah, 22. You guys are good. They go, you see basically this sailor probably from London. All right, well, we can get you on a boat. And yeah, bring your little pet squirrel along. It'll be good company.
How much would it cost to get us to leave sooner?
Oh, well, we're not really, like, in a rush. We've still got some men in the taverns, but, just got some time off.
It's fine. Stand the boat.
we can just hang on the boat until then. Is that all right? Maybe we help load some stuff up.
Oh, yeah, no, you guys are great. Go for it. In which case, if you're going to be willing to work your wage, they'll knock off 5 gold pieces from everyone. So it's only like 30 gold pieces for Jim and Megamind to travel.
Well,
And, of course, 35 minus gold because RJ looks like a pet.
I should have disguised self before we got on.
Just discuss, like, here is Jim and his 2 pet raccoons.
My gosh.
For sure, though, you guys hang out on the boat. We're gonna call it just kind of a luck check. I'll let you know, unless it's like a nat 1, you're probably fine. Yeah, a 19. Staying the couple hours just on the boat before night officially falls. All of you feel a sense of calm as no alarms are raised, no guards seem to be patrolling heavily. Indeed, it seems that, especially for RJ, you got away with it.
I do every time.
The captain is going to approach you after some time, looking at you all saying, right, well, we're going to get going. Just so that you're all aware, we will be making port immediately for England. We cannot guarantee safety. Ships have been known to be attacked in the open waters, with Vikings especially going around. But if we're lucky, they're too busy with that holy war they've got going on, and we might make it pretty safe. So, buckle in, hope you're not seasick, and let's get going. And so...
It was good to meet Captain.
Excuse me?
We taught him that phrase.
Sounds good to meet Captain.
He's like a parrot.
You
really
taught
smart.
your pet raccoon to speak? You
Just that
gotta
one phrase.
sell him! Sell him! You could make so much money off a talking raccoon!
Sounds good to meet Captain.
I'm gonna say, Braxton, you have locked yourself into this bit
For 3 days.
for 3 days, anytime. And I will say, each member of the crew is gonna go, no, come here. I told you. Look, watch this. And they each are gonna, give you hard tack and be like, come on, say it.
Sounds good to meet Captain.
Oh! And they'll, laugh and just this is a talking raccoon! I've heard of talking
Free
parrots.
food, guys. Free
food.
Alright.
I've heard of talking parrots. I've heard of talking lobsters. I've never seen a talking raccoon. As each of these dudes...
Lobster.
Oh, listen.
There's
There's some crazy stuff you see on the seas. And regaling tales as these British sailors just kind of link up with you guys. You guys are a pretty good crew. I mean, 2 dudes and a pet raccoon are pretty good. The days will pass, but as they do, we are not going to completely time skip and they pass, because stuff will be happening. The first is for Jim. Jim Knight Jr. As you were sitting there that first night on the boat, pulling out of these icy waters, moving in around Iceberg, you feel, I think for the first time since your unwilling imprisonment, a sense of relief as you have something that your patron wants. What I would ask then for Jim, what are you going... I don't want to say what are you going to do about it, but what do you want to try doing as you have this sword now?
Well, I want to try and figure out where Morgana wants me to take it. Because the odds that we're going to go all the way over to the opposite coast of the New World are pretty slim. It's not really where we're going. I mean, it's kind of where we're going, but it's pretty north. It's not down in Arcadia. So what I want to know, I want to let her know that I have it, and that we're coming to the New World, and see if she's got further instructions for me. And I also want to try to bargain for one of my friends. Something along those lines, but I don't know which one yet.
I do like this. Here's what we're going to say. contacting your patron is actually not that hard, as in the odd hours of the night, Jim,
It's only the odd hours. Not
you
even one.
feel the pull of your patron's magic, that deeper, darker, emerald green magic kind of spectates before your eyes. And you hear her voice. Well done, James. You have brought me the hilt.
Very nearly, yes.
Interesting you chose to use the rodent to accomplish this task.
I made a judgment call.
One that is acceptable. For now. And you watch as the voice suddenly changes in its emotional tone and becomes a bit more curt and icy. Take the sword to the edge of the ship.
Now?
Yes. Now.
You are releasing one of my friends if I do what you ask, right? That's gonna happen?
Go
That's
ahead.
happen.
It's going to be a DC 12 persuasion check right now. Not so much as... It's not like she won't. It's not like a fail DC, but there is something you could do with this.
I don't think I made it.
Yeah. On intent, you see there's not a lot of immediate response, but you do hear, I always reward my servants, James. Very well. Which one do you want?
Toby first.
Cool.
As the laughter kind of chuckles in your mind, you hear, interesting. I would assumed you would have picked at least a troll. You are in desperate need of strength, James. Very well. The one known as Tobias will be released. And you hear a slight almost like the crack of a stone or something breaking along an icy vein. And you don't hear anything immediately, but all your patron goes is, it is done. He has been returned safely to his home.
Thank you.
Do not thank me, James. We have much to accomplish together. I will be in touch.
Why get the sense that she's kept her word? Like,
I think for you, Jim, you've never really known her to like, I don't want to say lie, but you know, like she's never like, aha, I gotcha, sneaky, like.
right? Yeah. Okay.
She has always, and also lore-wise for you, she does make pacts and does keep them. Usually it involves like very bad consequences, but never towards an immediacy of a bargain. Like it's usually just the act of, hey, because we're working together, bad stuff's gonna happen. Like this isn't great, but she's never one to try to like pull the wool over your eyes.
Right. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yes. Of course.
Awesome. Okay, I'll go up and take the sword to the edge of the ship.
As you bring the sword to the edge of the ship, you look out over the black inky water. Icebergs now starting to be a thing of the distance as you head out into open sea. And for a moment, you're not sure what to expect. Everything seems rather still. Most of the crew is either at their post or asleep under the deck. But as you hold the sword, you feel a chill and look down as a dark, shadowy hand has begun vining its way around yours up unto your grasp on the sword. And you feel that gross electric tingle as it does so. Its fingers kind of interlace around yours holding the sword. And when it pulls away, you notice that almost as if your hand was the one in shadow. The sword pulls out of your grasp smoother than water, and it disappears into the darkness of the ocean.
Okay then.
Okay.
Well, I really hope that lady doesn't need this back.
Oh man, I love this. I love this so much. Jim, as you take this moment aboard the ship, we will see upon the next morning, it is very clear to anyone looking at you that you did not sleep well last night. Not to any effect of not getting a long rest, but it's very much like how you can normally tell with someone where for RJ and Megamind, Jim's eyes seem unnaturally baggy, very gaunt and bloodshot, and there's almost a slight twitch to Jim this morning. That is something that it's very hard to hide based on your encounter last night.
What did you take?
Sorry? What was that?
What did you take? Was it
Nothing. I didn't take anything.
drug?
What are you talking about?
Are you on drugs?
Oh, no. No.
Okay.
No. It's probably just the ocean, you know. All this
You're
shaking.
allergic to the ocean.
I mean, no, but, you know,
Okay.
nausea, seasickness, don't worry about it.
Well, I'm gonna look at this book.
As Megamind, you turn towards the book that indeed RJ was also able to subtly swipe out of the library. Go ahead. There's a lot you're going to normally gain, but still give me an investigation check. Probably just for like maybe some like more inner detailed workings of the book.
23.
23. Excellent. As you look so, Megamind. The book is simply known by the title. Let me.
The Book of Vile Darkness.
Where's the book? Hold on. Like, I use this book. Here we go. The book is called Beings Most Evil. Beings Most Evil is, for lack of a better word, I'm going to let you know this is what we're going to call a D&D type monster manual. While it doesn't have such things as stats and weaknesses and strengths, it very much is a pretty good compendium, Megamind, of dark monsters and aberrations. Things
Is this
that
sort of like the Book of Dragons? Class
Very much
unknown,
so.
size unknown
Yes.
kind of deal?
It's almost as if that book had a counterpart for what we would call like aberrations and monsters, right? Like the Dragons book is very much like, these are dragons, draconic beings, items related to. This is all dealing about just other, two other types of class of monster. Megamind, in this book, there's a lot of references to things that you never hoped to see in your life. Things that would eat your skull and like dance on your grave and hunt you down, and thankfully for most of them, they all seem to be beings or monsters that either are very, very rare or possibly extinct, as this book is actually quite old. But Beings Most Evil does seem to have a bit of strangeness to them. I will say you could have easily confirmed with RJ, kind of like find the picture he saw the other people looking at. This book talks about a being called Pitch Black, or another title, The Boogeyman. Pitch Black is a dark being, according to this book. What you're noticing is that Pitch, in terms of like what this compendium has written about him, is a antagonistic being of the mind. Since the Dark Ages of the world, in the First and Second Ages, his power was at is peak, but has later diminished. For the most part, this being was known to be loathsome and aggressive, with obstinate and emotionless feelings. But with every passing century, it has since moved more and more into what we would call no longer myth, but legend. The legend, of course, being, yes, this is something parents would tell their children to get them to behave or go to sleep, saying, of course, go to behave, or the pitch blackness is there, go to better behave, or the boogeyman will find you. And for the most part, Megamind, you're noticing that this creature does seem to be pretty ambiguous. Again, the very charcoal etching drawing doesn't seem to be like based in any reality. It's that like, yeah, things can look many shapes and sizes. I mean, you're blue with a big head. Who are you to judge? But
Yeah.
this picture of pitch black seems very ambiguous. And most of the book doesn't even seem to give any better information based on this. More or less that this creature existed, or maybe existed, or could have existed to the common folk.
Didn't
Yes.
did Lincoln's character ever? I think he mentioned like once that the things that attacked us came from pitch, but he didn't say pitch black.
I would say you are exactly right there in some of your historical player sense. Jack Frost said this was one of the things he was looking into, a being known as Pitch. But yes, this seems to be a full name of this being.
Well, continue reading.
In the continuation, something you will find that seems to be gathered at the end of the book as something that, from what again you've heard from RJ, it doesn't seem that anyone else has read yet as a part of Beings Most Evil. The being known as Pitch, and truly other beings at the end of this book, this compendium of authors and mages that assembled the book, seem to hypothesize that these beings may be connected somehow. Not just Pitch, but other darker creatures of the world might have some sort of common ancestry, or maybe lineage is a better word to use. And that in thinking of these creatures, there always seems to come back to this idea of a darker being, something much more present but known in many names. And even on that very high roll, I will say, Megamind, nothing in the book ever gives you a name. You're not seeing anything like, and they all descend from blank. More of a bunch of people, shall we say rightfully and academically so, stated, we don't know what this is, so we don't feel comfortable trying to put ink to paper and give identity to something that is unknown still.
Yeah, we don't want to give a name to something because names can hold power, kind of a thing.
Exactly.
Do I find any information on creepy creatures in the area that we want to go to that we should try and avoid?
Yes. Indeed, you will learn of some of these creepy crawlies goes bump in the nights. In terms of monstrosities, what we're going to kind of start with is there's a couple things in the northern New World that it's more not so much as you'll get exact locations, but you can kind of share with the party, and it's like, okay, these are probably over here because the author said, hey, we've noticed that these things could exist, but we don't know where they come from. Probably the New World. Some of the things you're noticing are there's a different assortment of guardian-like spirits There's monstrosities that seem to have been built or made by darker magics and mushed together. For example, there is something we all know as players, owl bears. Apparently, it's that, like, we've heard of these things, but we've never really seen them. And it's that, like, oh, so these might be what exist in the New World. Owl bears to that extent. I will say, Jim, you would take note, some of these creatures talks about gum-gums. The book says that these are, we can't classify them truly as beasts because they seem to be monstrosities, dark creatures created somehow, maybe akin to troll and goblin-like races, but you see that the masters of this book more or less chalk gum-gums up to, but it might just be someone got too scared when fighting a troll or an orc. They didn't seem to have more of that, what we would call insider knowledge that you do.
And also, are those still a problem? If I remember correctly, they all kind of, or at least Gunmar's army died when he did.
I would say yes. Gunmar's army did die when he did.
Okay.
There's no army marching across the Americas right now, but gum-gums are a type of troll. Again, dark trolls that turn to this necromantic energy. It's not good.
No bueno.
Are a variety of things also that you see on a 23 Megamind. There is tale of a big creature that exists in the frozen northern waters that has been known to be a problem for ships. The being does not yet have official name, but more is denoted by a form of gigantic squid that has been rumored to break ships in half with a single tentacle, dragging all inhabitants to a completely and utterly unavoidable death.
Cool. So it seems like we're not going to go to the Arctic and come down. We're going to come in and then go on land, maybe, so we don't...
I mean, we're not in control of the ship's movements.
Well, we're going to England right now, and then we just need to find a way to the New World.
But you never know.
That is true. What I would then say...
Knocks on wood.
Knocks on wood. The only other real thing that maybe, like, shall we say, like, piques your interest, Megamind, there are creatures in the area that you're heading to that, for lack of a better word, no, I think there is a word I would use, seem to be these gross... There are creatures that exist in the world that mock good things, that take on appearance and form of things that seem innocent or good, and one that exists is something called, what they called a devouring angel. The angels, of course, what you would know, Megamind, angels don't exist. Many scholars have once thought of this. It's one of those things that, like, nope, those are just made up. But devouring angels do exist because these are creatures that drew in that ambition of people and persons to have some sort of protection and use it against them. These, like, kind of fake creatures to, like, lure those into traps and limited telekinesis to then devour them when they are not careful. For the rest of the party, what you would all know then, the ship to England is going to be coming into port upon the next morning, at which point you will be in a new portion of the world, and a new portion of the world deserves a new map.
Yay!
Here we go.
Point of view.
Here we go, and this is the map of Europe. As you can probably immediately tell, having put this in the chat, Europe is, again, pretty similar. You're just on the other side of the Alps, the I campaign. Putting it you guys, like, you very much aren't, like, anywhere crazy, but Europe is one of those areas of the world that is, shall we say, very much in control of itself. The Kingdom of Far, Far Away is run by its king right now, who keeps pretty tight order. Far, Far Away is actually where most commerce and trade comes from, dealing a lot with London. London's this grand city right now where a lot of people are in and out, where you have a pretty good location, because if you head far enough south, you'll eventually find yourself in the kingdoms of Spain with some more, shall we call it, local cities and towns, or even the more mysterious woods, not so much as the Black Forest, which gets a little crazy, but these woods that are full of magic and fae and fairies, as legend goes. But landing in London, all of you would note that the ship you are coming in on, they will let you know and simply say, "Right, well, it's been a pleasure getting to see you all, and of course your really funny-looking road here." Sorry, one more time. One last sailor leans in, offering a bit of jerky to RJ.
All right, so are we in port?
Yes,
No,
coming into port.
Not quite yet.
Okay, I just say thank you, take it, and jump off the boat.
What?
The sailor, "Oh, you should probably go catch that. Again, you could make great money off that thing."
Yes.
I'm like, oh, crap. I'm gonna go after him, like chase after it.
Yeah.
You guys dive in. Right before the exit, you hear the sailor just like, "We just want to let you know we're not doing a return trip. This was a one-time favor. We're not to buy." Like, just trying to get that, and all of you dive off into a bit of the grimier waters of the London port.
Oh, I land on my robot.
Oh, just so everyone else dives in the water. Megamind just like, wee, it floats along.
I'm not getting my leather wet.
Oh, I thought we were at the dock.
You were like about into port. It was that like in a couple of minutes they would have officially lashed the rope. It was that like.
Okay, then I would have just said the thing and taken the treat.
All right.
The idea was I just hop off the boat with a, "Hey, thanks, bye."
Yo, nice. Entering London, very much a wildly different theme, of course, from Ilvanor and the far northern areas that you guys have just come from. London is a very tightly packed metropolis. There is hazy smoke everywhere in this perpetual rainy feel. People move to and fro, carting and selling different vegetables and goods, everything. Potatoes, fresh potatoes. I've got turnips. Who needs a batch of radishes? Everyone is screaming and yelling at each other, and the city seems to just be electrified here, even in the morning air, from all of the common folk here. As you guys hop off into port, what's kind of the plan? What do you guys want to do here?
So I'm gonna put my armor back on and take my bag back. Make sure she didn't eat anything.
Jim, would you have eaten any of the raccoon streets? Excellent. Yeah,
I'm
RJ.
not even sure what's in the bag. I'm curious, but I'm not that curious.
Not that curious. Listen, I'm doing this. RJ, you take once, twice, thrice over. Everything's in pristine condition. Not a single thing lost.
I can trust this person. Okay. I would like to get my ring identified, unless the bard can do it.
I don't have identify.
Dead to me.
Level up.
Why do we even have you in this party? I'm just kidding.
So
yeah, I'll go and get my ring identified.
Sweet. Yeah, RJ, go ahead and give me just a quick investigation check, just kind of in and around some of these quick shops around the port. Like, let's find a mage or maybe a diviner, someone who has like kind of that quick knowledge.
Could I help? Because they might have some goodies.
Oh yeah, if you're going as
or
a party,
fun
I'd say
information.
for sure, like advantage, because Megamind and Jim, if you want to go along and that like we can just kind of stay together, I'd allow advantage.
Okay. Alright, my computer's lagging out. The first one was a 14.
14's, yeah, pretty good.
Come on, work for me here.
And I can give a bardic if you need it.
Ah, it's true.
My computer is just having a schizophrenic attack. It's not the treasure, it's fine. So yeah, that was a 14.
I did say I threw a bardic your way, so if you want to use it.
Go ahead and roll a d6 for me, because my computer won't let me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a 3, so 17.
17.
Pretty good.
Excellent. RJ, as you kind of make your way looking around, Jim and Megamind looking through the cities, there's a lot of stuff here, honestly, to be found. You're noticing a lot of kind of food shops selling everything from meat pies to wine, taverns that boast to have something called like blackbird pie. Like, there's a lot of pies for some reason. It's kind of the big thing apparently here.
Weird.
But
Place is so weird.
uh,
British baking. Weird.
yeah, right.
I'll just have some baguettes, some good old bread.
Croissant.
Within a moment, though, you will find.
Sorry, can I?
Oh yeah.
Are we still doing RJ's thing? I zoned out for 3 seconds.
Oh yeah, no, it's like RJ, but like as a party, I'm allowing like you guys can like all go to like start looking around the town.
And they might have some things that we need, or
I'm gonna
who knows?
restock my supply of silverware because I'm running low on food.
For sure.
True.
As you could probably assume, Jim, a good stock of silverware rations is going to run you about 10 silver. It's actually a pretty fair trade of like, oh, you want to buy fine silverware? Yeah, 10 silver for 10 utensils. It's like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Just click on the gold here
Okay, or I
and
could,
do.
I could just.
Yeah, that works.
As you're buying that, and of course, Megamind, just a couple copper would easily get you some basic bread, cheeses, you know, just like, hey, when in Rome, even though it's not, there's some good stuff to be found. As you travel through a bit of the city, after some time, you will find a small little store with a sign called The Wandering Eye. And you're noticing that, like, it's got that big old eye at the top of the sign. Seems to have that, like, very blues and purple paints kind of splattered onto it to give it a bit of a divining sense. What I would say is, if you guys want to enter in, the Divining Eye seems to be a small shop that even with, like, 2 normal-sized people and RJ just being a raccoon, that already still makes it rather packed, shall we say. As you guys kind of enter in and immediately realize that this is maybe a 6 by 7 foot room. Everything feels very compact in the city for some reason. And behind the desk, you see a small little man, very close-cut hair, kind of that, like, blondish starting to brown in age of just, like, getting a little murkier hair. Looks up at you behind some spectacles and just, hello, welcome to the Wandering Eye. How can I be of assistance?
Oh, hello, my good sir. Acting as like posh as possible because we're in London. I would be rather chuffed if you were to identify this ring I procured.
Ah, a talking raccoon. Very interesting. You see this man
Very
is
normal
looking-
where I'm from, I assure you.
I would like the 3 of you to make me insight checks real quick.
I rolled crap.
Not as crap as me.
6.
Oh,
What did you get?
Oh, 1.
I rolled a nat 13 plus 3, so a 16 total.
A 16 for Megamind. I'll give you a choice on a nat 13 here. I think there's something very interesting. Do you have one of 2 options. do you want to look more into what this person seems to be feeling right now? Maybe what the store owner seems to be feeling? Or would you like to insight more of your surroundings, like the area you're in general?
I rolled a d4 for odds or evens, but I hadn't picked which one I was doing yet. Because I feel like Megamind would be curious for both.
Yeah.
Because you would definitely enter a new place and be like, oh, all of these interesting items that
But
I
you're
could
much better
possibly...
at reading things than people.
It's true.
Well, I disagree. He manipulates people. I don't know.
Not very successfully.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I'll probably do the person.
Do the person. Megamind. You have been, and some may say always will be, a villain. And you're very good at knowing when someone is A, doing something illegal, and B, is nervous because someone might discover said illegal activity. It is a face you have worn yourself many times when trying to get away with something. The man behind the counter seems to exude just a thick aura of the second he saw this raccoon and it started talking and saw you two, who you both are very interesting. Again, these giant blue dudes, one with a big old head, one in a full suit of armor. He looks horrifyingly nervous. He's not sweating, not giving those tells, but Megamind, it's that like, oh, he's guilty of something. You see the store owner turns. Yes, talking raccoon, what can I identify for you using my all-seeing eye?
Oh, well, my good sir. I procured this ring here, and I would like to know what it does.
Yes, of course. Picks up the ring, and he is going.
Not sure if RJ would let it go.
Oh, and so there's a bit of that, like, all right, I will let the young raccoon master hold it. And indeed, you found a pretty good spot. This dude will be able to cast Identify.
It's a ring of wishes.
This is a ring. No, a ring that sends you back to the last town you were in.
Oh,
That would be bad.
That would be hilarious.
That-
As he looks at this ring, and you see his eyes do kind of sparkle with a reddish glow as they kind of like shine upon the ring. Well, by all accounts, this is a magical ring, as I am sure you are aware. The ring seems to be one of mind protection. A ring that would protect the wearer from, well, psychic assaults. At this point, I would say, even for RJ, the next insight, this dude has started sweating a little bit. And
Now that we've...
Well, I quickly take the ring back. I always had it. I quickly hide the ring.
You kind of
away.
either.
Can I, like, full-on grab his shoulder and be like, now cut the shiz. What are you doing?
Go ahead, give me either... We're going to call this intimidation with advantage. As you grab this man's shoulder, cut the crap, what's going on? Like,
we're part of the union.
We're the
We
union,
are the
haven't you
union.
heard?
Can't believe that's our party name.
This is wild, but you know I love it so much. Oh gosh.
I just heard them be like, unionize them. Pulls out a pamphlet. We are the union.
Megamind, what did you get?
Oh, rolling.
This is the same energy as I am the Senate.
I am the Union.
21.
21.
I rolled 6 and then a
This dude
16.
immediately breaks. Please, they're not mine. I'm holding them for a friend. I'm a good person, and I just needed some extra cash. Please, just don't turn me in. You can take them. Say you found them on the street. Please, please, sir, just don't tell the
Show us
officers.
what they are.
What?
Where are
Show us
they?
where they are.
Okay, I'll show you. He stands up and he kind of like unfolds the desk. It goes against the walls, and leads you back behind the shop. In this tiny little room filled with tiny little baubles and vials and bags of different arcane, focusy equipment, this man stops, grabs a singular bag of what might be incense, and just kind of like pulls it, and you realize it's attached to a string where after about a foot of cord goes chung chung, and you hear a lock, and one of the walls of baubles swings back, and all of you are greeted with there are about 24 to 25 chickens in this little soundproof room that immediately kind of fluster, feathers up as things have happened. And you notice the chickens see RJ and kind of, and just like all start like high animation, like feathers are going everywhere, squawks and caws of alarm, as this dude breaks down crying, please just take them. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I turn into a chicken and try to talk to them.
I still have a full hold of this guy.
Yes, RJ, I'm gonna allow this because, as we all know, chickens can't fly. So this works.
Is this chicken run? Is this what this is?
You turn into the chicken, and as you turn, your ears I will just let them acclimate to the animalistic noises. All these chickens, oh, they found us, oh, we're going to be taken away, please don't take, oh, my family. All these chickens are terrified that you guys are like mercenary cops. And straight up, like, are RJ, as you turn into a chicken, though, they just,
Calm down.
all the chickens, he's a chicken? Oh, bless my stars. I thought we were going to be taken away. Oh, he was a chicken in disguise. Oh, and all the
I
chickens.
have always been a chicken. I turn into a raccoon to blend in with the outside
The
world.
chickens start crying and all start hugging you. Oh, bless you. Megamind and Jim, this shopkeeper, as it happened, what is it? Are you not mercenaries sniffing out chickens?
No, we just needed to reunite him with his long-lost family.
I don't think this is them.
Oh.
This isn't them.
The shopkeeper breathes. I thought you were one of those mercenaries that have come for the bounty. I don't know if you've heard, but there's quite the reward for these chickens. But listen, it's not their fault. It's more a matter of circumstance. I mean, to be fair, with the price of eggs and everything, I mean, it's not a bad deal to keep them here. I'm sorry, are you not chicken hunters?
No.
You're not?
No. We are actually part of the Chicken Underground Railroad.
I need you to make me a pure persuasion check with advantage. You have actually stumbled into something that is canon, Braxton. You're trying to do a bit here, but I'll let you know I need you to make this persuasion with advantage because you
Can I go deception? Because I am lying.
Yeah, no, we'll call it deception. Of like, yeah, you're straight
I'll
up.
throw a bardic your way, too.
Yeah, throw
Good,
a
I need
bardic,
it.
like, go ahead, that D6 on top of a 13, which is already really good.
16.
You said, you're a part of the Kennel Trail. The Colonel Trail Colonel Trail. Oh, this makes so much more sense. I apologize. Please, here, it's not safe to talk here. Please, take your shape-shifting chicken and tell them to become qualified back into a different beast, and let us head up to my flat upstairs.
RJ, you heard the man.
I turned back into a raccoon.
As the man kind of quiets down the chickens, who, RJ, the last thing you see, oh, please, yes, keep us safe, sir. Oh, we're so grateful. Oh, I could pluck out my own feathers and happiness. The shopkeeper closes the door, and with that chung-chung, soundproofs off this coop of chickens. Turns to you.
Chicken run, right?
Yeah.
Here's what you should do. Head out into the street. Head down the street, make a couple of turns, I don't care what, but wait 10 minutes before following me upstairs and meet me in my flat. You'll find a stairway around the back. I'll keep the door unlocked. Please be discreet. Do not tell anyone. I will say, you all notice his accent has changed. What was a very British accent has now become a bit more of a Scottish accent. He seems like very much a different person in this moment. But says, go outside, 5 to 10 minutes, walk around, do a bit of window shopping, come upstairs to my flat, okay?
Can I roll like an insight just to see if this guy is trying to con us to get out of his house so he can just like dip with the chickens?
Just grab the chickens and run. Actually, yeah, go ahead and make an insight check. That's a very fair assumption of like, can we trust him?
That's a nat 20.
A nat 20. Megamind, for the first time in your entire interactions with this man, he's not lying, nor being deceitful. In fact, honesty is a bit of a strange thing for you. So it's that like, oh, this is definitely being honest. This man is completely and utterly dead serious right now. As he turns, you guys just, right, I need to stay in the shop. Just pretend we've finished our interactions. Here, he throws you guys a bag of, and you can put this down, just like simple material components for like any basic spell work, very basic spell. Just take this, pretend you bought it from me, but meet me upstairs. Bring the bag back, of course, it ain't free. And just kind of, as you guys reach, he ushers you back out of this tiny little shop, and immediately just, thank you very much. Come back again to have your minds enlightened and your eyes open to the world. Closing the door with that little ching hitting the bell. All of you are standing on the street.
Cool.
What just happened?
We're just doing what he said.
As you are on the street, I will say, any of you can naturally start following that order of yeah, we'll walk around, do stuff.
Can I take a look around for suspicious people?
In looking for suspicious people, you do see a couple of mercenaries, RJ, that were down the street. They didn't take notice of you guys. It wasn't like they were watching you think. But you notice that these mercenaries were at a bit of a posting board for jobs. That on this board, in big, bold letters on a bit of now slightly aged parchment, are the words, "Wanted by order of the Queen. Any and all chickens, alive, not dead, to be brought to the Royal Guard House. Price 100 gold per chicken." Indeed,
What did they do?
all of your eyes grow wide. As indeed the mercenaries here, you kind of notice, RJ, as some of you guys walk up, a couple of them are talking. Right, I heard there was a bit of chicken smugglers up and around these streets. I haven't gotten anything. If I save up my money, I might be able to find myself one of those detection spells, finding animals. But you can't be careful. You see his friend kind of slaps him. Oh, you idiot. You get a detection spell, you're going to find half the freaking rats in the city. We've got to be careful. Chickens are sneaky little buggers. As indeed, apparently this is a thing here.
Real quick, have I seen any other shops on our way through here? Mm-hmm. Did I pick up any shops or inns or anything along those lines that I could lie to these guys, send them
the far side of town?
For sure. There was a couple, it's the Sloshed Goblet, this big old inn that seemed to have a lot of attention. It was about a mile or two back, way back towards the ports. And RJ, it would be easy money to be you could probably send these guys that way if you told the right lie and deception check.
Yeah, so I'll kind of wander up and be like,
I hate chickens.
What the?
It took me eye.
Oh, you're a raccoon.
I love raccoons. Hate chickens. I lost my father to a chicken.
Right. That makes
Yeah.
total sense.
They're awful, awful creatures.
Oh, those
Down
bloody with the
under, we got
feathers.
chickens the size of men. We call them ostriches and emus over there.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Now-
I came out from Liverpool to find these chickens. Listen, I once heard a chicken pecked out a man's eye and then just sat there and pecked him.
Doesn't surprise me. You know, the government of the Kingdom of Australia down there, they went to war on those giant chickens, the emus. They lost.
Right, really? No, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's why the government up here, they're getting a jump on these little...
That's
these
fair.
little,
That's fair before they get too big.
oh, these
Well-
cheeky little things. Look at them. I mean,
Because
honestly.
I'm
they're-
willing to help you guys because I hate chickens.
Really? All right. Well, what do you know, little raccoon? We've been here a good month or so. Haven't caught one.
Yeah. I was just on a ship coming through from what's the town?
Yeah,
That one town.
the one town that we just came from that started with a Y.
Ilvanor, yeah.
Ilvanor, and I'm pretty sure they were smuggling some chickens and taking them to the inn. And then I named the inn that you named. I just
The
Oh,
the sloshed
the
goblet.
goblin one.
yep. Slosh
Yeah.
goblet.
I think they were taking them down into the cellar, but I couldn't be sure. I couldn't really make out what the sailors were saying with their weird accents, you know.
Right. Yeah, those weird out-of-towners, the Ilvanor, they don't speak good common like us.
No,
Yeah.
no.
No, I see it. Listen,
And then I just start going into some Australian gibberish.
Go ahead and give me a deception check. I'll let you know it's a DC 10 right now. Because this is pretty good. Like, it is very convincing of like, oh yeah, raccoons, sure, why not? Like, oh, really? Smuggled chickens? 13, pretty good. You see, they kind of look at you just, right, we should have hired you.
would take that.
like, hey, listen,
I would
buddy.
take out the sloshed goblet.
If you want a job with us, come find us at the Goblet after we make a bit of run on these chickens. If you've got a bit of a nose for it, you
Appreciate that,
bud.
bud. After the war, I don't think I can look a chicken in the eye.
You see, the other of the two mercenaries go, how can you? Those beady little eyes that swivel back and forth.
There's
Laying eggs
no
that don't-
humanity in them.
They just lay eggs. And what? They do nothing. It's unnatural.
Exactly.
Can you imagine giving birth and it's just a person that looks at you and says nothing? It's the devil's work, I tell you. It's the devil's work. One of them is going to hand you a mercenary card, like their card, to be like, hey, contact us if you want a job.
Appreciate it.
You watch as they head far down the street off towards the sloshed goblet. I will say then, no other check needed. You guys can wait the remaining minutes and head up towards this store owner's flat.
This is so dumb. I love it.
This is hilarious. This is everything I wanted and more. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I will say I do
We
enjoy
kinda
the smaller group size.
Yeah, like it's fun.
Kind of
here
just
we go.
entered a fun side quest out of nowhere.
I know what's going on.
Achievement
Listen,
unlocked. Find
I
the
was
chicken.
waiting the first group to come here. I'm like, here we go.
And hey, like maybe this goes deeper. Maybe there's some real crazy shiz to.
You see, as you come up to the flat, you open the door. Indeed, it is unlocked. The room is dark. But as you come in, close the door behind you, a single match is lit, igniting a candle, slowly illuminating the room. And you see the man sitting here, eyes looking back and forth. Now, you weren't followed, right?
No, there was some chicken wrangling mercenaries over by the corner, but we managed to send them the other way.
Yeah, well...
There isn't any connection to the something goblet, right?
To the what goblet?
The goblin.
Right.
The slosh goblet?
The slosh goblet.
Slosh
No,
goblet.
I mean, I'm not entirely sure. I thought you were with the
No.
Colonel
We're
tree.
just double checking.
Right.
So how are things going here? How are things going with this operation?
I'm rather confused. Do you understand what's going on or not? You were giving me some mixed messages earlier, but you seem like honest
I
folk.
don't. I'm just here for protection. I could use filling in.
Right. Well, yes. Let me help you, my friend.
And each person is kind of assigned to their own specific location. So we're not privy to any other location in the city, so that if one gets caught, it's not like the entire operation is exposed throughout the whole city.
Right. Well, here's the basic rundown. As many of you may know or not know, starting a couple years ago, there was a string of crime waves throughout the city. No one could figure out how it was being done. Priceless artifacts, jewels, treasures stolen, blink of an eye. Money, wealth, deeds. But after some time, Scotland Yard was able to figure out that these thefts were being pulled off by the most unlikely of creatures. Chickens. No one ever expects a chicken to steal from you, stab you in the back, take from you. But that's what they said was happening. And so, chickens became outlawed. Became popular, hunting chickens for money. Of course, they wanted them alive, because if you kill too many chickens, well, that is a major source of eggs. I mean, we all do use eggs. I personally bake a lot. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, I wasn't really meant to do this. I have a friend, she was a poultry farmer, and she entrusted me with her chickens before she fled the country. Most poultry farmers were taken in, and simply I've been trying to find a way to get my chickens out to her ever since. As far as I can be aware, the chickens are being brought in, but no one believes that all the chickens are bad. But the crown decided to give the royal stamp and say that by outlawing all chickens, it's a simpler measure. But of course, it's attracted some truly vile scum. You see those chicken wranglers down on the streets. They don't care for the people. They only want the money out of the chickens, and they're willing to do dangerous and dark things to get it. So I've been keeping my head down, quiet, and I just haven't found a good way to contact anyone in the Colonel Trail. A couple of weeks ago, there was a few members arrested out higher up from here near Wales, but that's about as far as I can know. Out in the countryside, it's easier to keep the chickens in hiding, but that is where most of the wranglers have gone these days, is out into the farther reaches. You see, and at this point, he has been keeping most of the story to Jim, but, of course, Megamind, RJ keeping up with this. All the chickens are being brought to one singular place in the continent, and that is the coop. And as he says coop, he grabs a piece of paper. You will notice the coop is the chicken or other organism penitentiary. I had to relook up my acronym for it. Where he says, they made the small island just right off the coast of London. And as far as I can tell, it's a hellhole. Mostly chickens, of course, but a couple of the, poultry farmers that couldn't get away were captured and taken there. I've been trying to get my chickens out ever since, and you see at this point, he gets very depressed. It's just hard. Of course, the chickens, they give so much back. They give eggs, they give company. The feathers are damn impressively soft. I mean, all of my pillows are chicken feathers now. You'd be surprised. Honestly, try it. But so tell me, how did you find me because you were sent here, or did you find me because I'm being too obvious? Do I need to step up my guard?
Oh, we found you by chance.
You need to step up your guard.
You basically looked so shifty that I thought you had kidnapped the chickens and were hiding them from other mercenaries. But I thought you were definitely shady and up to something the second I laid eyes on you.
Right, that's my fault. You threw me off. I mean, I can do pretty good. It's keeping my accent, keeping my appearance, but you're a raccoon. I thought that's pretty damn smart. You bring a sentient raccoon with a bit of a smell, a bit of a sniffer. I thought I'd been made.
But as you have learned, I really am just a chicken. And my heart goes out for my fellow feathered brethren. And we are going to do whatever we can to get these chickens out of this city.
Please.
I'm sorry by all of this. Does he fool me?
Does he fool you?
Yeah.
Did he fool?
Yeah, Jim has no clue what the crap is going on.
For Jim and RJ, yeah, it's more or less like you realize the only real tell, what kind of gave this away, is just that Megamind is a good villain in that sense of like he gets like being shifty and guilty, and so for him it's that Megamind picked up the subtle tell because of that occupational gift he has. Jim and
what
RJ
I'm asking is, do I really believe that RJ's a chicken?
Oh, that I would.
You
say
guys have never seen me transform into another animal.
Any other proof? So shoot, this dude could be a chicken.
Guys, I've been on the run for so long.
I didn't know. I'm sorry.
It's been really hard.
Chicken run.
Not being able to confide in you about my true self.
As you
It's
see,
it's why I feel it's the only thing that gets my mind off of the unbearable pain and
this man's gonna
nerves.
tell you his name, Lywraith Dawnrider. You see, he kind of consoles you, RJ. It's all right, my poultry friend. You're going to be okay. And I want you to know. And he looks at Jim and Megamind. If there's anything I can do to help bring to pass the liberation and freedom of our feathered friends here in London, I'd be willing to die for it. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
And we're going to break the coop.
We're going to bust the coop open. Thank you all so very much for playing, and thank you for listening. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.